All right. We're gonna hop into Trading View and go over trade I took today, and yeah, that's it. So we're gonna go over the trade I took today, and then we're gonna chart up for tomorrow. So here's the trade I took. So I had this mapped out. If I go on the weekly, you'll see better why I saw this. So obviously we have this on the weekly, correct? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, basically a 4 week balance that we were kind of sitting in. Um, Let me just turn everything off so you guys can see what I'm talking about more clearly. I'll leave this on. Just hide all the levels for now so you guys can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about more clearly. So I had this mapped out, basically a 4 week balance that we were in. And basically, what I said is if we creep back up into the value areas up here, there's a good chance we go and visit those value area highs. Um, One, you have an 80% rule playing out. Um, and just, looking back to the left, you're seeing, okay, if we're able to accept value up here, right? And they're telling us basically we like the price up here, they're gonna try, and basically, get the highest price up here. So they're gonna seek out that value area high. So I had this mapped out, and basically what I said is, if we're able to come back up in here and retest this area, because obviously it's not perfect, but I'm just looking for an area, you know. So map this out, blueprint it out, and say if we enter it and then we retest it, and then they basically tell us, okay, this price is valid, we like it, we accept price up here. Well, this is where we're going to seek. The thing that I had up was this 2025 value area high. The reason that I'm targeting that is because what they could do is basically go short from there, right? They could see, okay, we're at 2025 value area high. Um, and some people, in my opinion, long term people might find a good place to sell there. So I just thought in my head, it's a good place to get out. Right? You have other time frame participants hopping in. Those are really the people who really move the market. So that's why I exited at 2025 value area high. You know, so I saw we moved up in price. We retested, and they, as soon as they reclaimed it, I hopped right in. I believe I made like $600. Not too bad. You know, people have to go to college for 10 years to be a doctor to make that in a day. So, super happy with it. Um, so, yeah, basically, that's just what I was seeing. We're clearly in a uptrend. That's just clear, right? We had a gap up, and then continued higher. They're rallying up. So that's one reason I'm bullish. Second reason I'm bullish is because we're entering back into these stacked up value areas. And so when we enter up into a stacked value area, the that's when 80% rule is on the more favorable side rather than not. You know what I mean? When you're creeping up into those stacked weekly value areas too, it's a really strong indication that we want to seek that value again. So we're gonna seek that extreme side of value, and clearly they did that, right? If we go and delete this up, let's get this off. They really explored one. You have a lot of crowded highs up here, right? So they want to go and clean that up from a TPO perspective as well, right? You don't really need the TPO to really see a crowded high. It's a poor high. You just know that off looking at it. So off a TPO perspective as well, they want to go clean up those highs as well, and find liquidity up there as well. I don't know why this is up. So where was I going? Okay, this is what I wanted to do. Go here, go here, and as you see, they really went and seeked pretty much the extremes on all three of these. They went here. And they're headed here, right? So once we get to all-time highs, that's when things kind of get tricky. Then we're in more of a thing of price discovery. And I've talked about this before. Price discovery is a scary place to be that I don't like to be. I don't like to be in price discovery. Just because I can't go and look left and say, this is what happened when we were at price this time. I still have my volume profile. I still have my TPO. My VWAP and EMA. Those are all cool and dandy. But what I really like to do is combine TPO, volume profile, and looking left. That's a huge part of trading that I feel like people have lost. People also have lost the art of VWAP and EMA. Those are strong indicators that I feel like people have kind of shied away from. I think they're looked as gimmicky in a way, and everyone just wants to trade ICT, which, in my opinion, is bullshit. I don't really like the concept, but if it's working for you, I'm not going to tell you not to trade ICT. But in my opinion, it's bullshit. But either way, this is where I kind of don't like to be. Again, because I can't look left and say, okay, I have stacked value areas here in the past or stuff like that. But something I do like to do is just take my Fibonacci, if I could find it, because I don't use it that often. Where is Fibs? Fib retracement. Am I stupid? Am I actually stupid or what? Oh, I think it's here. Elliott waves. I think it's in here. Yeah. Retracement. And so what you'll do is kind of just take these highs to these lows. And then, find your golden pocket. And, you could say, first trim would be here if we break all-time highs. Second trim here. And this works well. Retracements and then final TP. I mean, if you're loading up with 4 fucking contracts, usually I'd probably just exit one here, second one here. But, these do work. I do like fibs. Don't get me wrong. I love fibs. I just don't hop in as confident when it's fibs, right? I'm not as confident in saying, okay, as when I'm using volume profile and TPO and I'm coming up on a value area high and there's signal prints resting above it, I'm not as confident in taking a short there as I am if I was to use fibs. So that's the only thing with me is just like, okay, I probably downsize a little bit. Wait for, and really just kind of not really trade, if I'm being honest. Like, if we're coming up on all-time highs, maybe I don't trade. And that's okay. Everyone trades different. You know what I mean? I'm not a bad trader because I don't want to. I'm going to sit it out for a second and say, let's let everyone else trade and be price discovery, right? And I don't want to be a part of that. Because I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not going to go gamble my money and say, oh, I could go here, could go there. I want a real thought out hypothesis and educated guess on where price might go next. That's really what it is. I want to see where are we going to accept value, where are we not going to accept value, and if they're not accepting value, are we moving down from there or are we moving up, right? Because if we're not accepting value lower, then we're going to go up. If we're not accepting value higher, we're going to go down. Or we're going to be in a balance. And by today, what they told us is they're accepting value up here. That's what they told us. They moved up. They kind of moved around a little bit. Then they moved up. You see it better on the 30-minute. They had a move, a move up, right? They had a gap up. Accepted value higher. Then they had another move up. They're kind of accepting value here. So what I'm really looking for tomorrow is if, honestly, I'm going to use this again. I'm going to use the same exact thing, right? I'm going to say, okay, if they can move above this and then they tap back into the zone, let me get this so you guys can see a little better what I'm talking about. If they move up above this tomorrow, right, and then they peek back here and say, and they full send it here, well, I'm in a long. I'm taking it right to fib, and then here. That's what that's my game plan tomorrow. It's real easy, real simple. I saw that in 2 seconds. If they want to accept value here, right? If they want to go higher and not accept value here, I'm going to use the same exact 4-week balance we had, right? And I'm going to say, okay, this is my thing. This balance is a real. It's hard to explain and really put into words. This is an area of interest, either for going lower or higher. Sorry if that doesn't make sense, but basically, this to me is very strong. This is a strong level. Whether they go below it, retest, and say they don't want it, or they say we're going to go above it and then say we want prices higher. But this is my real area of interest just because we stayed here for so long. And we really built up a lot of value and they really like price here. And if they don't stay in that balance, it really tells me that they don't, either they want to go higher or lower if they don't stay inside this balance. So tomorrow what I'd be looking for is, okay, they don't want to stay here. They come back, retest, and then we take it here, right? Simple. Not that hard. Trading should not be overcomplicated. I really don't think it should be. Trading super simple. It's just seeking value. That's all it is. It's a big auction. You know what I mean? It's a big auction house, and that's really it. That's all it is. Trading is just a big auction. It's the biggest auction in the world. But yeah. So clearly bullish, right? Like we talked about. Boom. Accepted value up above this, right? And then stayed in the balance. When they make a move like this, right? And then they stay in a balance, this is not bearish or bullish. This is bullish. Why is it bullish? Because we had a move up and then acceptance of price. That's why that's bullish. This is not bearish because they didn't fucking launch it to the moon still. That's very bullish for me. From where the standpoint I trade in, which really is the only standpoint you should be trading in because it's just facts. The market auction theory is not a theory. It's how the market works. I'm not saying that if you trade volume profile and TPO, you're going to be rich tomorrow. But I'm just saying it's just the facts of the market. But again, if we have a move up like this and then acceptance on that move up, bullish. And then you have another move like this and then acceptance, that is bullish. The only time that I say that you're not bullish anymore is change of character, right? So if they had a move up like this, let me actually move over so you guys can see better. If we had a move up like this and then we said like this and we broke this acceptance, then I would say now I'm bearish. Because what they're telling me is they had a move up, they were accepting price for a little bit, and then they had a move down, and this is where orb comes into play. I mean, that's basically orb, out of range breakout, right? So they're out of the range now. That's that change of character I'm looking for and say, okay, once we break this, that's very important for bulls to hold, right? It's the same concept. Use it down here. Oh, shit. Use it down here. When you get down here, are we accepting the value up here? And if we break out of that range, then I become bearish. And then what I look for, really, when we do that, is something like this. Super simple, right? Let's say we have that move up, right? Then we have acceptance. Now I'm looking back here, and I'm saying, okay, they built value here before. They never really went above it. Okay, I'm going to mark out my value areas. It'll probably look something like this. POC would be somewhere around here. And then I'm looking. When we break out, are they coming back? And if once they retest that and they fail to get back up inside that value, I'm short. And then I look for a POC down here. I'll probably take it there. You know what I mean? Another POC, another point of interest or point of control to take it to. Simple. It's just simple. It's just seeking value. That's all it is. Is it easy? No. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that it's easy. The concepts are super easy. The concept is easy. There's no other concept besides market auction theory. It's just how the market works. I can't stress that enough. If you want to argue about it, argue with your fucking self, because there's no other way. That's how market functions. It's a market auction. So argue with your fucking self if you want to think it works any differently, to be honest. So yeah, like that concept I just talked about, what we're going to look for. So we had an acceptance. Okay, if we break out of this, if we break this, I would say kind of bearish. When I'm very bearish, when they crack this, because we had so much volume to give us this gap here that if they crack this, important for bulls. Why? Why do I have that there? Because, well, one, we'll throw this on. How much volume was traded here? Not a fucking lot. I'll tell you that. It's not a point of interest for anybody inside of here, right? They didn't trade side. I mean, look at this. Once you crack this, it's a bloodbath. It's just simple. It's so easy to go, okay, point that out and say, if you lose this, I mean, you're cooked, brother. That's it. I would say once they crack this, once they crack into here, they lose this. This is going to be a very, very quick move like this, right? You're probably going to do something like this. And just quick down to here. That's going to be quick. You could look for an exit here. But either way, yeah. And then it happens to be value very high over here. But, yeah. Once you lose this, they're going to fill that gap. And they're going to fill it quick. But that's more of a weekly standpoint of what's going to happen. That's not going to happen in a day. Clearly. Or, I mean, it could. Never say never. But, yeah. That would not happen in a day. Sorry. So I feel like that's a really good lesson today. Those were some really good things we talked about just now. That those are really good things to understand and really, really get the grasp of. Not just listen and say, "Oh, I understand." No, really understand it. Understand where I'm coming from. Understand exactly what I'm saying. Not that I'm a god. By any means, I still have trouble trading sometimes. I'm not a perfect trader. And anyone who tells you they are is just lying. This market is constantly moving, constantly being different, constantly changing, and you have to adapt to it. Okay? I mean, I've been doing this since I was 16. I'm 21 now. Researching the market and trying to really understand what's happening inside the market. And I really do have a very good understanding of the market, but there's weeks and months where I'm like, what the fuck is this? When this war first happened, I struggled for the first week, and then once I realized what I needed to do, I started banking pretty well. But yeah, I still struggle sometimes. So let's get to charting. Pop this off. Open up our previous day levels. Now all I'm doing is I'm on SVP. You go on 30 minutes. I'll show you the settings in a second with that. And then I just move them. They don't got to be perfectly on the lines. Again, you're just looking for that area. And again, We have that tight value area high with POC, very bullish. That means that what that means is that point of control is where 68% of the volume was traded at. So if that 68% of that volume was traded at that value area high or very close to it, I mean, you're within 4 points here, I believe, right? 65 and 60? Yeah, 5 or 6. Who gives a fuck? You're very close. So what that tells me is if a lot of volume was traded at a value area high, or most of the volume was traded at a value area high, simple. That is very bullish. Not to me. Should be for you too. But if it's not, I don't tell you. But either way, right? Same concept. So we put that on. Hide that again. Get rid of this for now. And then let me delete all these single prints that I have up. Why am I doing that? And we'll just delete them. What the fuck? How long has it been since I deleted fucking my single prints? Alright, that was annoying. Okay. And we'll stay on 30 minutes. We'll turn off this. So these are the settings. Value area volume 68, row size 100. Okay. And we'll go to TPO. Turn on session break so I can see the days better. Alright. And now we'll just look at the TPO. Regular trading hours. Cool. Cool beans. So, if we look at the profile, right? We'll look at TPO now. For a second. Let me turn this up. You can see it better. There you go. That works. Ugh, that's ugly. I don't know. I'll keep it like this. Just want you guys to kind of see what I'm talking about. Alright, we can do it like this. So you have your value area high here. And a value area high here. Low. And a low. What's that, guys? Higher highs, higher lows, bullish. Thank you. If you don't know that, I think I can't help you very much today. And then what I really like to look at is, okay, so we have our close here, and then we have our settle price here, or close, whatever you want to call it. Settle price, close, same shit. Obviously framing up, right? So bullish on that standpoint too. We closed at higher prices both days. Nice, cool. I'll delete one of them. Fuck, that's not the one I want to delete. So we'll go and throw that in, you know. Settle price. Go ahead and lock that. And now we will chart them up. So bullish again here, right? Oh, we have a poor low resting up here. A poor high, sorry. Poor high up here. And then we have down here, obviously you could call it a strong low or single print down here. So that's bullish as well, right? If we had a poor low down here and a poor high, that one usually ends in a double distribution, right? A double distribution on the profile, and then as well is not bullish or bearish, because again, they want to clean up both sides. So usually when you have a poor low, poor high, you have a balanced day. Kind of just, you know, price trading in between them because they want to clean up both sides. So put the single prints down here. You could call this, you could just, I put single prints just so, because when it's this big range like this, I kind of wait till price ends up doing this in the middle. I kind of want price to come down in this middle. I'll put my stop loss, you know, somewhere down here. And then like that. That's why I put the single prints instead of just putting one area and being like, okay, strong low or whatever the fuck you want. All right, we'll go ahead and lock that. And lock that. All right, cool. And then, you got single prints through here as well. So we'll just mark those out. Single print. Get rid of that. This could be moved a little better. Either way. See, I won't look at this as strong just because this is much better than Ford profiles or TPOs, whatever the fuck you call them. It's just stronger. I'm not gonna mark this out. Like you should it's hard to say because I forgot the guy's name. Fuck. Either way, the guy who invented TPO, all this is, I don't know if you guys know what this is, but these blocks represent a half hour. So this first block is 9:30, and then B is 9:30 to 10 o'clock. So this is 9:30 to 10, right? I'm fucking retarded here. 9:30 to 10 is A, and then 10 to 10:30 is B, and then C is 10:30 to 11, and then D is 11 to 11:30, and then so on. So right now they're just compressed. They're like this, right? And so now we can see that, okay, well, how bearish is it that we only spent 30 minutes at this price, right? If you just had regular candles there, I guess you could see it, but really I'm looking at the time. So at market open, we shot up, right? And we didn't revisit this 7,011 to 705 ever again. So at open, we really shot up and never came back. So that's why if we revisit this again, and that's why you want it single prints marked out on your chart, is that, okay, well, clearly we had a lot of buyers here, a good amount of volume here as well. And then when we left, volume kind of decreased. No one else was really interested again until, we had another move up. So clearly bullish on the day as well here. Everything in your face after using volume profile and TPO should be screaming at you and saying, we're very bullish. Market wants to move up. And all we do is say, okay, I'll stick my money right where you want to move up. Single print. Let me do this so you guys, if you have any confusion, let me just lock this. If you have any confusion, hopefully this will represent it better for you. So I just expanded the block. So each one of these candles is 30 minutes, right? All this is doing is putting basically a period of time for you so you could better see basically where the time is spent, if that makes sense. I'm like drawing a blank here. Oh, okay. That wasn't the day that we were at. I was like, why is my single prints up there? So yeah, so you can see if I just hide this, that it's just the candles. And all we basically did was open that candle up and say, what's inside of here? How much time was traded at price? Volume profile is volume at price. TPO is time at price. Time spent at price. Volume profile is volume traded at price. I hope that explains it well, right? And we pop it back up. You can just see, you can kind of see like a little X-ray. That's just the candle inside of there. Just opened up a little bit, so you can see. That's why it's called TPO: time, price, opportunity. Time and Volume, time, and price give us opportunity. It's a good way to look at it. So yeah, I'm done with this. I could hide that. And we could pop these on open. Let me go back on the weekly. Alright. Right? And what did I want to mark out? Right? Hide this bullshit. And I don't know. Some people might say this chart looks a little bit confusing, but once you map it out in your brain, you kind of can just make everything else disappear and really lock into what you really want to look at. Like tomorrow, I just think it's unlikely they give us this, right? So for most of the day, I'm really not paying attention to those single prints down there. What I'm really looking for, and let's see if they gave it to us because they really closed at a good thing. Like, what I'd be looking for tomorrow is this right here, this retest. See what they react. Let's see what they did. Be looking for along there, like I said. So, and that would have worked out for you. So I just wanted to mark out this. Really just a nice thing on my Bobby. I don't know. Why does it look like that? Hold on. I'm very dysfunctional right now. Just wanted to look pretty. That's all. There you go. Okay. That's good enough. Alright. So, there's our area. Pop him open. We'll pop all of these open. Is this somewhere up here? Yeah, I don't need it. Numbers down there. Alright, that's good. Hop on the 15-minute. And now we can really chart some shit out. So again, what I'd be looking for, crack into these. I'll draw it out for you guys. Okay. Yeah. Again, I'm looking for this midsection. And then I'm waiting for them to... I'm honestly, I don't wait for nothing really. No retest, no nothing. As soon as they come back in a single prints, I'm really looking for this. Clean up this 4 high. That's what I would target. And then you could trim a contract here, raise your stop loss somewhere around the POC. And then, you know, oh, I deleted the fibs I had up there. And then wherever the fuck the fibs were up here, you could really take it to tomorrow. Short side. I probably would wait to get stopped out here if they want to stop me out. And then what I'm looking for is to break this value area high, 2025, retest it and tell me we don't want 2025 value. And then, boom. So that would probably be more than likely my second trade right there. And then You could probably take it to January's Valuary high. If they want to bring it down there. And then, if they end up giving me this, I would, obviously I made some money there, but I'm going to be a little bit greedy. If they want to give me this, I'm taking it long. Let me delete some. I can make that look better, so it's better understood. Yeah. Right? Makes sense. And then these little circles. Making go there. Right? So the little circles will be exits that you can take. Draw your fibs out if you want. I'm not gonna do it again. Actually, you know what? I should do it again because I'm gonna want them. Fucker. So the circles will be where you want to exit, right? First trim. Okay. Alright, hopefully that makes sense, right? Fucker. Bad with technology. Sorry, I just gotta clean this up. So yeah. So yeah. Tomorrow, look for longs. Circles are where you're gonna exit. So that'd be your first trim. And I really think they might blast right through this value area high previous day. Once they clean that poor low up and just seek this up here for new all-time highs. So, yeah, that would be my second exit. And then for the down, what I'd be looking for, if they crack these single prints, right, stop me out. What I'm looking for is a retest. Tell me they don't want this. And then, boom, take it down here. Right? And then what I'm looking for, if they end up taking it down here, all right, let me just write it for you. Can you get it? Look for shorts. Boom. Right? And then I'll circle the exit. Fire. And then tomorrow, if they do this, they come down to here. Again, at this midpoint, I'm looking for trim here. But then again, what they're doing, if they spend an hour outside of here, right, they're going to give us 80% rule. So my second trim would be here. And I'd probably trail a stop loss and maybe look for it to take here again. Because if they give us this, then, 80% of the time they seek fair value again. So, yeah. Take that how you will. If you want to be a little more risky, play that 80% roll. I fucking suck. Okay. Yeah. Simple. Easy. Nice. I'm going to exit like that. And then screenshot. Oh, fuck. Screenshot that if you want. Leave it up here for a second. If you want to play those plays, probably make you some good money. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah. I think tomorrow looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited to hop back in tomorrow. But either way, so yeah. Hopefully that was easy enough to understand for you guys. Try it up a little bit. Hopefully you learned something. So yeah, tomorrow looks pretty good. I like the plan for tomorrow. All right? Peace out.